to the savage nation. Tonight, I want to talk about the fact that, thank God, Big Bird is fried. It'll be fried chicken from now on. And NPR is about to be out of business. Started as a great thing. It turned into leftist garbage. And at least we will no longer have to watch Pride Month on Sesame Street, now that Sesame Street has basically been defunded by the Trump administration, long overdue. National Public Radio, even when I was in the radio business, I'm talking about in the 90s, 94, I began in radio. There was a guy here on local NPR, a totally talentless hack, a loser, couldn't get a job as a disc jockey in a hay market. This guy was making $400,000 a year for spewing leftist garbage. He's still around. He's still in the Bay Area. He goes to all these events, gives speeches, a talentless hack. He never could have made a nickel in the private sector. And he was making $400,000 a year. And the management at NPR, millions of dollars a year. So thank God Trump's getting rid of NPR. Other things I really want to talk about right now are things like this. The stomping of the white people in Cincinnati is something that should not be forgotten and swept under the rug. Can we name a single black leader? Is there a black leader in the United States of America? Has one black leader said stomping on the heads of innocent people, whether they're white or black, is totally wrong? Kamala Harris, who pretended to be black, gave a little tour the other night on the Colbert failed show. She didn't say one word that this kind of behavior doesn't represent the African-American people at their best, and you'll be punished to the full extent of the law, and it's wrong, and it makes our people look bad. She didn't say one word. What about the civil rights grifters? Where's Al Sharptongue? I've never heard that man say one word for the betterment of our society. It's simply a grift. He's used civil rights as a weapon to become wealthy. Watching those people get beat up like that by that black mob was as sickening as it comes in this country. The poor woman was stomped so badly, she had to flee to evil Russia to go to a civilized country to get away from the jungle that America has become as a result of 50 years of the Great Society. Well, at least we won't have to watch Pride Month any longer on Sesame Street, now that Sesame Street has gone to seed and Big Bird is fried. There are other topics that I want to talk about on this little wrap. It'll be a short one. It's a little late on a Friday for me here, and I've been tweeting, and I want to read a few of the tweets from this week, bring you up to date on my particular life if you're interested in it. If you're listening, you must be interested. Because right now I'm on X and I'm on Facebook and I'm on YouTube, and you can comment right here and I can react to you. And I'm up on X. Big Bird is fried. NPR will soon be gone. That's on X late on a Friday afternoon. So my most recent podcast was posted today, which is White Males Need Not Apply with Dr. Lawrence Krauss. And it's the war on science, where 39 renowned scientists and scholars speak out about current threats to free speech, open inquiry in the scientific process. And also taught at MIT, agrees with 100%. We're like in the Soviet Union right now during Stalin, when scientists were purged who wouldn't go along with the program. Next to that book, you can see my book on X, which I wrote in 1984, The Death of the White Male by Michael Savage. I've been arguing about what affirmative action was doing to this country for how many years now? I can't even name 40 years. Horrible to see what has happened to this country. And it's not going to be fixed overnight just because DEI is sort of gone, because most of the boll weevils that were put in place over the last 30 or 40 years are not gone. They changed their job titles, but they're still there disseminating their racial hatred towards white people, especially white males. Okay? That's not an opinion. It's a fact. It's a fact of life, which is why the universities have become stinko. It's why airplanes are crashing into each other. It's, a new story came out, NTSB. The pilot wasn't supposed to be flying there at that time. Really? No kidding. Who was the pilot? Did you see? Now, don't get me wrong. There are some great women pilots. I've said this for years. That one apparently was an affirmative action woman, a white woman pilot at that, and she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the air controller, the air traffic controller, was also another dummy that they put in there to fill a quota system. I used to not so jokingly say 20 years ago that if this doesn't stop, one day we're going to get on a plane, we're going to look into the pilot's cockpit, and we're going to see a blind pilot with a seeing eye dog, and we're not going to be allowed to say, hey, this doesn't look safe to me. We're so close to that today, and parity has become reality in our country. What else is in the news? This story disturbs me very deeply. Trump moves nuclear subs towards Russia. Hannity, Levine, Graham, Fox psychos egg him on. Who the hell is talking to Donald Trump? The man came to power as a man who would settle the war between Ukraine and Russia. And now he's escalated the war between not only Ukraine and Russia by sending the little Hitler in Ukraine. Don't tell me he's Winston Churchill. If Ukraine got a legitimate leader who did not declare martial law and let the Ukrainian people vote, you might actually see a peace movement in Ukraine. They're burned out. They're exhausted. They're you know that they're now recruiting men over 60 years old in Ukraine? This is a meat grinder killing Russians and Ukrainians who are like cousins. It's like a civil war. It's like the U.S. Civil War in some ways. Of course, there are not direct parallels. And now Trump seems to have lost all bearing and all balance, and he's moving American nuclear submarines off the coast of Russia because psychotics like Levine and Hannity and Graham are telling him that it's time to crush Russia. This is insanity. This is how people lose nations. It's how the world blows up in our face. Somebody has to stop Trump before we lose the world. I'm not going to sit here and say everything this man does is right. This is psycho, period. End of story. What else do you want me to talk about? Talked about most of the things that matter to me. Activists delete fundraising campaign for arrested migrant who turns out to be a wanted murderer in Mexico. So I posted that this morning. I said liberalism truly is a mental disorder. And then this talk about Biden's cognitive decline, to me, it's the biggest cover-up story I've ever seen. It's a pathetic distraction from the current real scandals and threats to our nation. Shame on you in the news media who are all in on this. And I'm talking to you on the conservative side, if you want to call yourself that. There are much bigger stories than that, than this mediocre triviality of Biden's cognitive decline cover-up. It's a bunch of crap. We don't need to hear about that anymore. Let's talk about the real scandals and the real threats to our survival right now. Also, this week, in case you don't know it, my biopic appeared last Sunday night on Newsmax TV. They worked on it for 6 months. I watched it. I was put in a very difficult place. It's like watching your life pass before your eyes without dying. They say that when you die, your life passes before your eyes. Well, watching a film biopic that you didn't produce, that you only participated in as a subject, and hearing people talk about you, and watching video of yourself when you're a young guy with young children, and now that you're an older man, and seeing it all pass before you on a video is pretty astonishing. Don't tell me you know what I'm talking about until you've walked in my shoes. It's not easy, and I didn't expect it to have the effects that it has had on me that are so profound I can't even tell you what all of them are right now. I've had a very rough week. I don't know if you saw that last Sunday night. It was run at 9:00 at night Eastern, which is a rough spot. It's called The Bronx to Big Time, about me. And it's on this Sunday again on Newsmax TV at 4 p.m. Eastern. Maybe you have other things to do, 1 p.m. Pacific. I don't control when things are shown, nor can I give this to you for free. It was a very expensive production. And I would hope that the people who enjoy my work over these years, going all the way back to Earth Medicine, Earth Foods, Teddy and Me, God, Faith, and Reason, the political books, A Savage Life, will watch this on Newsmax TV and subscribe to Newsmax if you have to watch it. It's not a big deal. And those are some of the topics. Again, Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, the Bronx to big time. You're going to love the show. These are the topics that have crossed my mind tonight. I know it's late on the East Coast. It's not so late here on the West Coast. What am I doing this weekend? A little stressful again. I'm taking on too much work, and I've got to be very careful. I don't like what I'm doing so much because I'm working too hard, not just for a man my age, for a man any age. I'm doing too much. 2 podcasts a week, 3 TV shows a week, uh, this stuff. Now, I'm flying on Sunday to Burbank, and I'm going to appear as a bit player, a small scene with a famous actor in a movie because my friend is directing it. The actor is a friend of mine, and they're super conservative, wonderful, God-fearing men. One is Christian, one is Jewish. They're wonderful people. I've known them for years. And just 2 weeks ago, he said, "Wait a minute, Michael. I have a part for you. It's Ezra the Jewish Fisherman. And we'll be filming this weekend." If I tell you I'm having trouble memorizing my roles, I wouldn't be fooling you. It's a simple thing with 2 or 3 lines, and I have trouble remembering it. Do you know why? Because all my life I've spoken from my heart in a stream of consciousness manner. And for me to memorize lines is extremely difficult because I didn't write them and they're not natural to me. So it's going to be an experience to say the least. So I'm packing a bag. I'm flying out on Sunday, staying overnight in the Hollywood Hills, going to be driven down to the coast to a fishing pier, filming the scene on Monday, and then flying home either Monday night or Tuesday morning. It's a little stressful, but I want to do it because my friends are involved with it. And of course, there's a little bit of desire to be in a little bit of a movie. I mean, it's a bit part, I admit that, but it'll be fun for me because I'm a natural performer and a natural actor, and doing it around friends is phenomenal. And that's this Sunday's work. And then I hope that after that, I'm praying after that, they're going to make cue cards for me. But I pretty much know my whole role. I can read it to you right now. I know it in my head already. I do, but I don't. So how are they biting tonight, Ezra? Biting? The flies are biting more than the fish. But it's good to have hope. There's a Jewish saying, and he says something, I forget it already. See, I forgot that part of it. I'll go get it. It's something about God. God's will or God can change your luck in the blink of an eye, is the Jewish saying. For those of you who know the Hebrew saying, it's a very famous. Yeshua's Hashem, God's benevolence. Yeshua's Hashem, Keheret La'ayin, can change in the blink of an eye. So he says that to the other character. And then he says to him, "Do you know what that means?" And he says, "What? I'm going to catch a big one tonight?" And he says, "Maybe." And then he says, "Good luck." And then he goes back to fishing on the pier. It's a nice little role. I'm flying all the way down there for that. And you know what? I enjoy doing things that are enjoyable with friends. And these are my friends. And I'm certainly putting in an awful lot of energy for 3 or 4 lines. And then there's a funeral scene. They threw in a funeral scene. I said, as long as it's not my funeral, I'll be glad to be in it. They said, "Could you bring a dark suit?" I said, "Yes, I have an old one picked out just for the occasion, as long as it's not my funeral." So I'm having fun with the script people. They're very beautiful people. They're very kind and friendly. They know I'm just a bit player, and they're treating me very nicely. And it's nice to be around nice people in an industry that's filled with sharks and wolves and such. So I'm going to be doing that, God willing, on Sunday, staying over Sunday night. I was supposed to stay Monday night too. I think I'm coming home Monday right after the filming. I want to go home. I'm not happy unless I'm in my own bed. I swear to God. I don't care where I am, no matter how big the mansion may be. Uh, I don't sleep well outside of my own bed. I don't know about you. And I'm one of these guys. I'm just a homebody. I like the sound of my own room. I like the creak of the floor. I like the sound of the water at night. I like to watch the birds in the morning. I like to watch the pelicans flying inches over the water and look at them and wonder at the beauty of nature and of God. that he could create such a creature as a pelican, which has such high intelligence and such a phenomenal sense of a social order that the pelicans exhibit. If only mankind had that kind of civility, we'd be a much better species and the earth would be a better place to live in. And this goes through my mind every time I watch birds on the bay. And now at this time of year, I live near the water in San Francisco Bay. There is a seal. Seals are amongst the loneliest animals I've ever observed in my life. And I've been an animal observer since I'm a young boy. I've always watched animals. They've always taught me so many things about my own life and about life on Earth. There's a seal that comes by off my deck, and I swear to you, he looks at me, and I don't know what he wants. I don't have a fish to throw him. Maybe he's lonely. I think sometimes the seal comes by just to see a man standing on a deck saying hello and saying hi. I don't know. I don't think he's asking for food. He just comes along, he peeks his head up, and he looks at me and he dives down under. And I wonder what's life like in that murky water underneath the water? What world does that seal live in? Well, anyway, these are the things I like to do. I also like to sit on the back of my boat and feel the rocking of the water. I like going out on the boat once in a while. I haven't gone out much. I bought a new boat a few months ago. The weather's been so horrendous. This is the coldest uh, spring summer we've had in 45 years. It's the coldest since 1982. Ferocious wind and fog. I know the Mark Twain. I never spent the winter, colder winter than the summer in San Francisco. I've known it. No. This is going on April, May, June, July. It's horrible. The worst boating season that you've ever seen, which was a lot of fun. Truthfully, to me, fun is feeling the water, how it plays on the hull, watching the cloud formations, seeing the birds fly over the boat, just things like that, feeling the wind in my face. And I only have 12 hours on a brand new boat. Would you believe it? With a Volvo D4 engine. I got to get it up to 25 hours before the first service. And I thought I'd have them by now, but I don't. I don't know. Maybe the service won't even occur until Thanksgiving at the rate I'm going. But that's it. It's been overcast in San Francisco for 6 months off and on. I was up in Tahoe last weekend. And of course, totally different weather system. You can go 5, 10 miles up the road and be in a different weather system. It's one of the beautiful things about the Bay Area, which is so-called the microclimates, and it does get on your nerves after a while. Night after night, morning after morning, day after day. It's like living in Newfoundland in a bad black and white movie. So these are some of the things. But I love the water. I love the cool air. And my great son says to me, Dad, he says, count yourself lucky. He said, I live in Miami. He said, do you know what heat is? You have a house up there. You know what heat is. I said, yeah. And he says, well, he said, every time he comes here, he loves the fog and the cold. He grew up here, but he had to leave the state because it's become unlivable for a successful businessman who's honest. And he's a successful, honest businessman who had to leave a long time ago. And boy, do I miss him. And that's the sum total rather, of my life this week. I just wanted to say hello and goodbye. Maybe I will say hello to you from Los Angeles. I will, God willing. I'm not taking my laptop. I took it to Tahoe to do some TV shows I had to do. I'm going to be in the hills, in the Hollywood Hills, before the film thing. I could do it on my iPhone. I could say hello to you on the iPhone. Maybe I'll do it on Saturday or Sunday because I haven't been in Los Angeles for a long time, and I loved LA. I got to tell you, we had a second home in the hills of Los Angeles for years when our son lived there many years ago. And we used to go down there quite often because it's only an hour, as you know. And we'd either we would jump on a plane. I only drove the first few times. It's a grueling, horrible ride on I-5 till you get to the Grapevine. Then you think you're there. Then it's another hour and a half into the Hollywood Hills. So we started, only flying. But every time we got there in the winter, there is no more beautiful place on earth than Los Angeles. It was a paradise in the winter, especially up in the hills. The air is cool. You get ocean breezes up there. Just gorgeous. You could see why Hollywood originated in Hollywood because the LA area is perfect, just perfect weather in the winter. Well, those days are gone. The people have been driven out who are successful by the vermin who run Hollywood and run Los Angeles. That Karen bastard, I don't know how in the world a person of her low, corrupt ilk can be the mayor of one of the greatest cities in the world, and how she could almost single handedly destroy it in the name of, quote, woke. It's not woke, it's corruption, it's criminal. You know that hundreds of millions of dollars have disappeared under that woman's in her hands. They still haven't rebuilt Pacific Palisades. The $100 million or 100 disappeared. Where'd the money go? And the railroad to nowhere, billions of dollars, not a mile of track not a single track has been laid down. The roads are broken here. You know, you drive over, if you think I'm making this up just to make a political point, you're wrong. I invite you to drive over the Golden Gate Bridge and start in San Francisco and head toward Marin County towards Sausalito. You'll see a broken highway on one of the most iconic structures in the world. Where the hell have the highway funds gone? Billions of dollars in gasoline tax. I'm paying almost $6 a gallon for gas. Don't tell me gas is low. And about $3 of that money is for state taxes, so the criminals who run the state can rob even more money. This is a horribly corrupt state, and we have no chance of surviving here unless they're all swept out in the next election, which is almost impossible unless we get real voter ID, and illegal aliens are not permitted to vote, because it is the illegal aliens who have created this one-party system in this state and in New York, which is why these states are so broken and so corrupt. There's no other reason for it. So that's the sum total of my meeting with you this evening. 21 minutes of a hello to you. And I'll close by saying there was a story I just heard on Rob Schmidt's show on Newsmax TV about a space object that's flying around that seems to be piloted, and it left wherever it left like 75 million years ago to arrive in our solar system. I mean, it's hard to comprehend this when you have people in the street who are stomping other people in the streets who can't add two and two. They could not add two and two in their own head. That's the human race today in this country. We have people in the streets of this country who can't put two and two together, who are now running the country in so many different ways, it's hard to believe. And to get control of this loss of a civilization is almost impossible, because once you lose a civilization, as we have half done, it's extremely hard to rebuild it in just a few months or a few years. This is endemic destruction. So this object in space, no one knows what it is. Supposed to arrive next March 26th. I don't know what's going to happen then. I have no idea, but maybe that object in space may not be filled with aliens. It could be my old Oldsmobile from 1968, which I scrapped on Staten Island. I just don't know. Maybe somehow it got shot into space. If you like what you see and you see what you like, subscribe, sign up, and that's about it. I have nothing more to say, my friends. Thanks for being with me. I hope to speak with you again over the weekend. It'll be this time from the Hollywood Hills, where I look out on the once great twinkling city of Los Angeles and say to myself, this is what happens when a city and a state dies under the hands of liberally insane people. They let the criminals out of the asylums and out of the prisons. Remember they used to say the asylum joke? Remember the asylum joke? That's no joke. We now have the criminals and the insane running the asylums and the asylum cities like Los Angeles, like San Francisco. It finally happened. Well, good night and good luck, as they say in Hollywood. Thanks for being with me. I'm Michael Savage.